The Panzerkampfwagen 6 Ausführung B has many nicknames: the Tiger II, King Tiger, or even Royal Tiger. It is regarded by some as one of the best tanks Germany produced. Für die Ardennes offensive, Kampfgruppe Piper was strengthened by the schwere SS Panzerabteilung 501. This heavy tank battalion under the command of SS Obersturmbannführer Heinz von Westernhagen counted 45 of these 70-ton panzers. In this video we will follow two of them, King Tigers 213 and 221. Both tanks were a part of the 2nd Company. Tiger 213 was the 3rd tank of the 1st Zug or section, while Tiger 221 was the 1st tank of the 2nd section. There is some doubt on who commanded the 213 first. Some sources mention SS Unterscharführer Paul Domke, while others put SS Unterscharführer Franz Faustmann in the commander's seat at the start of the offensive. Either way, Tiger II 213 was taken over by SS Obersturmführer Helmut Dollinger on the 18th of December 1944. This occurred somewhere between Ligneville and Stavelot when Dollinger's Tiger broke down. There is no doubt about who commanded Tiger 221. This King Tiger was commanded by SS Untersturmführer Georg Hantusch, who at the same time was the commander of the 2nd Company's 2nd section. Both Tiger 213 and 221 passed through La Gleize on the 18th of December 1944 and continued the advance in the direction of Verbeumont. When the Americans blew the bridge over the Lienne stream, the spearhead of Kampfgruppe Piper, including both Tigers, were forced to pull back to La Gleize, where they arrived in the early hours of December 19th. SS Obersturmführer Dollinger's 213 was put at the Verimont farm overlooking the valley to the east. King Tiger 221 of Hantusch had other duties. His King Tiger was put at the Moulin Maréchal to strengthen Blocking Group Mill and defend the eastern approach of La Gleize. On the 20th of December things heated up at the Moulin Maréchal. Around noon the Sherman tanks of Task Force Lovelady were seen on the road above. These would later cut straight through the column of the 1st Battalion SS Panzer Artillery Regiment 1 rushing towards La Gleize. Blocking Group Mill consisted of the Panzer IV of SS Hauptsturmführer Oskar Klingelhofer, the 7th Company's commander, and King Tiger 221 of Hantusch. When the American tanks lumbered past, word got round at the mill that they, the Germans, had to set up an ambush and attack the American column. Hantusch, however, deemed this unwise, as the Americans would be firing back from an elevation and that they would be firing onto the roofs of the panzers, which could easily knock them out. So Task Force Lovelady continued their advance unmolested. As the American Sherman tanks of the 3rd Armoured Division had cut Piper's supply route the day before, Blocking Group Mill, or Sperrgruppe Mühle in German, was ordered back towards La Gleize on the 21st. The Tiger II of Hantusch was sent towards the Verimont farm, where it paired up with the 213 of Helmut Dollinger. All was quiet until noon of the following day. In the early afternoon of the 22nd of December, 15 Sherman tanks were seen coming from Roanne. These Sherman tanks probably belonged to I Company of the 33rd Armoured Regiment. They were a part of Task Force McGeorge, which had been tasked with attacking La Gleize from the east. The tanks were largely protected by a smokescreen to their left to cover them from the panzers overlooking the valley. However, both Tigers at the Verimont farm fired at the column of Sherman tanks below, but both rounds failed to connect. The Sherman tanks of Task Force McGeorge in return fired onto the Tiger IIs on the height above. One shot blew off Dollinger's front part of the 88mm gun, putting the 213 out of action. Hantusch's traverse mechanism of the 221 was also severely hit, forcing both crews to bail out. Dollinger, now wounded to the head, sought cover in the cellar of the Verimont farm. The attack of I Company 33rd Armoured Regiment, supported by Company K of the 119th Infantry Regiment 30th Infantry Division, to the east of La Gleize was halted around 3:15 in the afternoon as 2 Sherman tanks were lost. One of them was destroyed by a 75mm round coming from Panther 201 under the command of SS Obersturmführer Christ. Panther 201 had been towed back to the La Gleize Hotel, from where it had an excellent vision on the eastern approach into La Gleize. As also Panther 221 of SS Hauptscharführer Knappich blindly opened fire in the smoke below, the Americans were forced to abandon their attack. Tigers 213 and 221 were abandoned when the remnants of Piper's men withdrew from La Gleize. After the war, when the Americans were removing Tiger 213, a local, Madame Jenny Guénendeville, bought the tank for a bottle of cognac. They fixed a broken gun barrel by welding on a Panther's gun barrel and placed it in the town square for everyone to see. The 221 wasn't so fortunate and it was scrapped for metal, like many other vehicles left behind by Piper. You can find the 213 right in front of the excellent December 44 museum in La Gleize, just in front of the church. This was Jay's Destroyer. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and do leave a comment down below. Cheers!